Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're going to be talking about Manchester United. The season just finished, and if you're a United fan, you're going to probably maybe agree with me, with somewhat not, but let me know in the comments down below if you do end up agreeing with me, or you have your own opinions. I'd like to have that discussion in the comments. But anyway, let's get into what the plan Ruben Amorim should have involving the squad. I don't know, tacticals and formations and shit like that. I'm not going to get into that. It's just what to do with the squad. Now we're going to do like a little breakdown from the goalkeepers to the strikers on who should stay, who should leave, and who potentially we should sign. Goalkeepers, let's go through. We've got 3 goalkeepers in the club. We got Heaton, Onana, and Bernier. I just found out that Heaton signed a 1-year extension, or he's going to sign a 1-year extension, so he's going to be at the club next season. So I don't really mind it. He's third choice goalkeeper. I don't think he's really going to play that much, so it's fine. Heaton stays. Bernier and Onana gotta go. Both of them, we need to sell them. We can't, and I know some of you are going to go, oh, this is not FC 2026, you can't just sell the goalkeepers. The defense makes mistakes too. I've seen that argument online too. When your 2 goalkeepers have conceded goals because of handling errors, multiple handling errors, they have made mistakes, so many mistakes this season that have cost us games. That we've lost 1-0, that we've gone from winning to drawing. They've just made too many mistakes. And when you punished Onana and you put Bernier in, Bernier made the same fucking mistakes that Onana did. As Manchester United, we cannot have goalkeepers who cannot handle the ball. We can't have it. The game that just happened in Aston Villa, another handling error. They got robbed. That is my honest opinion. Aston Villa got robbed. That goal should have stood. They should have stood. Bernier, a handling error. The ball came straight to you and he didn't control the ball properly. That was a goal. I don't care who says what, how much of a diehard Man United fan you are. That should have been a goal. VAR should have been allowed to intervene and give them that goal, because it was a handling fucking error. We can't have goalkeepers who can't handle the ball properly. So we need a new goalkeeper. We need 2 new goalkeepers. We need a backup and we need a main man. Who do we get for the main man? This is a goalkeeper who we should have went for instead of Onana from the beginning. But I do think it was because Porto were playing a fucking high ball with us that we didn't want to spend that money. Hopefully they don't highball us again, but we should go for Diogo Costa. I think Diogo Costa is a really good goalkeeper. He's not on any of the big teams' radars right now because they already have good goalkeepers. We don't have a fucking good goalkeeper. We need to go in and get a good goalkeeper. He's definitely the one. Now for the backup, I don't really have a backup like option. I don't really know who would join us to only maybe play cup games, because essentially whoever we sign as the backup goalkeeper, I do think they deserve to play, especially this season, the cups. Give them the FA Cup, give them the Carabao Cup, or the EFL Cup, whatever the fuck they called it. And Costa should play all the Premier League games. And then if we get Europe, we can kind of figure out what goes on with that. The only keeper that I can kind of think of is I'm not really sure if he is good enough. When Solskjaer was in charge, we were linked with a Japanese goalkeeper called Zion Suzuki. He looked really good when I looked at some footage at that time. Now, I don't know if the story is completely true or not, but the reason Solskjaer didn't get him was because if he joined Man United at the time, he wouldn't be able to represent Japan at the Olympic Games, and he really wanted to do that. It was like a life goal of his. So that deal didn't go through, and I can't remember what happened, but we never went back in for him. That is like the story I read. How much of that is true, I don't know. But that could be a goalkeeper that we look at bringing in, and it won't even cost us that much. It shouldn't cost us more than 10 mil to bring him in. I think he plays for Parma right now. I don't know how he's doing at Parma. I didn't really look into him, but that could be a goalkeeper we could get. And if it doesn't work out in January, we just look for another backup goalkeeper, or better yet, look at the academy. There should be a goalkeeper there that is good enough to at least be the third choice at the club. There has to be. So when Tom does leave, maybe at the end of next season, you've got an academy player that can fill in that slot, and maybe you can just give that third choice goalkeeper the Carabao Cup. But anyway, let's move on from the goalkeepers to the centre backs. The centre backs are a major part of the team because we play at back three. Now, if we're doing the little math that I've got, we've got about 8 players who can play at the back there. So before we get into that, obviously Johnny Evans and Lindelof have left the club. They're done. They're leaving. Johnny Evans, I felt, was getting too old. It's the right time for him to go. And Lindelof, I do think Lindelof was getting better, but I just don't think he was the right fit for Manchester United for the future for us. But I do think he was getting better. I do think wherever he goes, he probably will be a big part for that team. What the fuck? There's a moth here. Okay, I'm getting attacked by Mothman because I'm cursing up Man United right now. But anyway, let's get into the players that are in there and who I think should stay and who should move on. I do think we need 6 centre backs and a 7th potentially to stay there for in case any injuries happen. We had major injury crisis in centre back this season. So let's get into number 1, Harry Maguire. I think Harry Maguire should stay. I think this is his best season at Manchester United he's ever had. And I do think the back 3 system is benefiting him way more. It's boosted his confidence. He's playing incredible football. And Harry Maguire should stay. We should keep him. I don't think any clubs are going to come in for him. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can keep Harry because I think he's probably one of our best centre backs that we have right now. Next we have Lisandro Martinez. He's unfortunately been injured for most of the season. He suffered a bad injury and he's not been back since. But he is someone that could play a major part in that back 3 and someone that we need to keep. We'll move on to Euro. I think Euro, for 19 years old, he is incredibly good, and we got super lucky getting that deal over Real Madrid. The fear only is that a club could potentially come in and steer him away. It's the same with Martinez. I think those are the only 2 players that we currently have who play centre back, out of the centre backs I'm going to name now, that could get steered away. I hope we can keep them, but they could come in. Thankfully, Real Madrid has signed Dejan Huzik. I don't know how to say his name. The chilled guy from Bournemouth. So I don't think that will kind of probably shut the Euro thing down completely. Okay, moving on to the next centre back. It is Matthias de Ligt. I was going to say someone else's name and I almost mixed them together. But anyway, Matthias de Ligt. Now, he's also injury prone. That is a big problem. But I think with a good rotational system, you could potentially get more games out of Matthias de Ligt. And having the 7 centre backs at the club, rotating them regularly, I think we could get a good amount of football out of Matthias de Ligt. And I do think before he just got injured at the end of the season, I think he was starting to play extremely good. Because he did have a bad spell when he arrived at the club. But I do think there's a good player in him. Oh shit, my throat. I do think we can get value by keeping him. So we'll keep him. Next centre back is Mazraoui. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, he's a right back. You don't use right backs. Oh, but he can play on the right wing back. Yes, he can. And that's what makes it great about playing him in centre back. I think some of the Mazraoui's best games has been him at playing in the back 3. We have to use him there. The great thing about having him there is if any of the wing backs do get injured, it's not a problem because we have Mazraoui. He can play on both sides. So yeah, I'll keep Mazraoui, but I prefer to have him into that rotational for the back 3. Then number 6 is Heaven. Now I think for a youngster who's come in, he's done extremely well, and I think you do have to reward him for doing well, to stepping up when we needed him to step up. and he also did come back, just recently came back from an injury. I think he's got to be rewarded. I think he is definitely part of that 6 that I'm talking about now, and I definitely think he should be playing every single game of the Caribou Cup or the EFL Cup, because he's not going to be the first name on the team sheet when it comes to the Premier League, unless there's a certain style of football that we're going to play that he fits that system for. I would like to see him play every single minute of the Caribou Cup, or whatever the fuck that cup's called. I'm just going to call it the League Cup. I want to see him play every single minute of that, and I think he becomes that 6th centre back for the regular rotations. Now number 7, Fredrickson. When we really needed a centre back, we called up Fredrickson, and I think he is solid. He did so well, and I think that needs to be rewarded. Not by giving him a loan move. I think we need to keep him at the club and have him there as that centre back, because obviously we've seen Martinez does get these big injuries, and De Ligt is a little bit injury prone. If they both do get injured again, or we have another centre back crisis next season, having him there at the club is going to benefit Manchester United a lot. So those are the 7 that I want to keep. Now I did mention 8. The last one is Luke Shaw. Another injury prone defender. Luke Shaw's not been able to get running at Manchester United since Ferguson left. I don't think he got time in at Moyes, with Van Gaal, with Solskjaer, and now it's the same story with Ruben Amorim. He's too injury prone. We need to get rid of him. We need to get whatever we can get from him. Thank you for your service, my friend, but I think that your time at Manchester United has come. We need to sell Luke Shaw and try and get as much as we can out of that deal. I do think for what we want to do with the club and build with Amorim, it just doesn't have Luke Shaw in the picture. That's just my honest opinion. Moving on to the wing back positions. Now I'll start with the right because that's a little bit easier to do. Is Amad Diallo needs to play there. He needs to play on the right wing back because he started in the beginning of the season. He played there. I thought he was extremely good. He was doing the attacking and he was tracking back and doing really well the defensive work, also helping out the defense. And now this last game at Villa, he did it again. He played an amazing game playing like that. I don't know where the switch came to play him in one of the cam roles, but that's a mistake. We need to go back to playing him over there. He is so good. He should be starting. He should be the main man on that right side. Now, I do think it is good to have an attacking-minded player and also a more defensive-minded player. Now, the defensive-minded player, I think we put Diego Dalot there. I have seen a lot online that some people do not want him in the club anymore. They want him gone. I do think there is value in having Dalot still at the club. So I would keep him and have him as Ahmed's backup. Moving over to the left side, we've got Dorgu. Now Dorgu has been a breath of fresh air and he's dominated that left side. He played so well against Aston Villa, and I do think he's one of the few players that cross at a really good time when players are available in the box. He needs to start on the left. He should be the left starter with this current team. Now it is the other side. He is a more defensive player. We need a attacking side. Now who do we go for? I couldn't think of anyone really, so I would like to pass it over to you guys. If you guys could let me know in the comments down below if there's anyone who you think could do that. The only player I could think of, and this is a very long shot that we'd ever get a chance to get him, is Nico Williams. I think Nico Williams is very, very good. I don't know how he is defensively, so I don't know how that would work. I don't know if he could pull out what Ahmad does. If he could, if we really wanted to play attacking football, the two of them would be so good. But I don't think that will happen because I think Bilbao will charge us fucking insanity money for him. He almost did go to Barcelona. If Barcelona's fucking finances wasn't such a fucking mess, and that club wasn't run so fucking poorly, he probably would be at Barcelona playing with Lamine Yamal. But yeah, he's still a Bilbao player, so we'll have to see. I don't know if he is even someone that Amorim is looking at. We'll have to see, but that's someone who I would look at. But then you have the case where you have got Malaysia still, who is out on loan at PSV. He just won the league there, PSV, which is great. Maybe see if PSV want to make that move permanent. he really struggled. Honest opinion, when I saw him play with his back, that wing back role, he struggled, really struggled. When he came on as a sub, he struggled. When he started, he struggled. He briefly had good moments there. I don't think keeping him around is worth it. There is one extra player who I think has done really well at the game time that he was given, and that last and on the left side, and that was Harry Amas. Now, if we do sign a more attacking side, I do think we still keep Harry Amas, because I do think we need an extra, just for in case something goes fucking wrong. We have got 5 wing backs with Mazarawi, who can also slip in there. You've got 6, so it's not really a problem. We're not going to have any potential injury crisis. Okay, now let's move on to the centre midfields. Now, I think we need more 3 creative midfielders that are going to be more advancing and more attacking kind of like mindset, and then 3 more defensive mindsets. Now, the defensive is easy because we have that covered. We've got Casemiro, we've got Ugarte, and we have Collier. I don't think we sell any of those 3. I think we keep them solid. But on the creative side, on the more attacking side, we've got 1. We just lost Christian Eriksen. We're not extending. He's going to move on. We've only got Kobe Mainoo. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Bruno can play there, Mason can play there. I don't think Mason should even touch that side of the field. He should be more high up the field. And I don't want Bruno sitting back too much. I think Bruno plays his best football at the cam role. So we only have Kobe Mainoo. So in my opinion, we need to go sign 2 more creative midfielders or attacking mindset players. Someone that's like a Tiedemann or I don't know. This one I didn't really think too hard about, or I couldn't really think who would actually join us. I do have some shouts, like maybe a Nico Barella for Inter, but then it's like they just went to the Champions League final. Why would he go to Man United? That's not been playing Champions League. It's a difficult one. The only other player that I could think of is Joe Bellingham. Maybe we could spark some of his brother's success that he's had into Man United. He has done really well for Sunderland, and Sunderland are going to be in the Premier League. Maybe we can get something like that. Maybe they won't even cost that much. Let me know in the comments down below who you guys have. But yeah, like I said, I kind of blanked on there. Everyone who I was thinking of, I just didn't think they would come to Manchester United, because I think their teams are just in a better stage than what we are. But yeah, let me know which 2 you would have, or I would even have in that position, because we need one who's going to play, probably switch in and out with Maymoon, and then one who's more probably going to just play when as a super sub, or maybe play the League Cup. We could get an academy player, or some of the many players that we have on loan, like the youngsters that are on loan. Maybe there's some players that they can come in those positions. Moving on to the cams, just behind the sole striker in this formation. On the one side, doesn't really matter what side, Bruno Fernandes. 100% be putting Bruno there. I think he plays the best there. When he plays a bit deeper, he's not getting it as involved. I like him when he plays there, and I think his backup should be Mason Mount. Now, I know some games you can play both of them, but I don't think that's going to be the case, especially with our newest signing, Matheus Cunha, which I think Cunha is going to play that role. Now, I know some of you are going to go, oh, but Cunha's a striker. We don't need a striker, we signed Cunha for that. No, I don't think that's why we signed him, because we still are heavily linked with, I forgot his name. The fucking Sporting striker. I forgot his name. Gyökeres. Fuck, I can't believe I blanked his name. We're heavily linked with him, and I do think that we potentially have a shout to get him in. And I do think Cunha played Cam at Wolves for a while, and he can play that role. And especially if Bruno's playing more creative, he can be kind of like the second striker running in and running back into midfield. I think Cunha would do really well there. I think that is why they signed him. Now, who would you have as a possible 4th rotation in one of those 2 positions? We have Garnacho. Now, here's my issue with Garnacho. I have been reading a shitload of things that he's out. I don't know what's going on. Apparently his family said some shit about Man United. He said some shit about Man United, and coaches are not happy. They don't feel that he is the right fit for Manchester United. And I've heard that he's basically also said that he's gonna leave. And he didn't even play the last game. This happened like before the game started, or before the game happened, and he wasn't even part of the team. So I think that's a possibility that he could get sold. If not, you have him there. But I do think there's a large possibility that he's going to go. Which means, what do we do? Do we sign another player? I don't think so. I think the person we put in there is someone that we've already had, Joshua Zirkzee. I think Zirkzee played better as that in that cam position than what he did at striker. He's got great hold-up play, and his short passes is extremely good. He could be someone in, if you need to rest Cunha, you need to rest Bruno, slotting him and Mount in there. They should be able to do at least a decent amount of job. Let's move on to the strikers. Now, I've mentioned Gyökeres. I'm praying that we get him because we need someone who is firing goals in, who is highly confident, and is going to do incredibly well. Now, I do think Man United need to have 3 strikers who are constantly playing up front, not being moved around. They're playing up front. We still have 2 other strikers who I think we should keep. Højlund is such a hard worker. He pushes. He genuinely is trying. He's trying to get better, and I do see. It's just he's not demotivated. It's like I think his confidence is just low in front of goal. I think if he can start off next season coming off the bench and scoring, those 2 swapping, it will be fucking game over for the other teams. I would like to keep Højlund. I like him. I think he's I think he's a good player. He's still so young. He can grow, as well as Obi, Chuba Obi. I think he's extremely talented. We got him from Arsenal. I think we need to keep a hold of him and have him as a third rotational player. Maybe play him a little bit more in the cup, in the League Cup. Now let's move on to the loan players. Now the youngsters that are on loan, I don't really know too much about them. I know we have a bunch on loan. If there are any of those youngsters that Ruben Amorim feels these slots that we need to get filled, that those youngsters can fill them, he will be definitely doing that. I just don't really know if any of them can fill those slots that I've told you about. Those are slots that I feel that should be filled. Now let's move on to the 3 obvious. I already spoke about Malaysia on the left. So let's get into Anthony. Anthony is at Real Betis. He loves it there. The fans love him. The club love him. He wants to stay. They said that if they can get a good deal with Manchester United, they'll make it happen. Let's just put some joy back into football. Let's help Anthony. Let's just let him go to Betis. Let him enjoy his football. He's still young. He can improve. He can do well. I don't think it's with Manchester United. You can see the passion and the love that he has there at Betis. Just do some good. Put some good out there. Manchester United, let him just go back to Betis. Like, give them a low ball offer. It's fine. It's not going to be the end of the world. They know we paid 70 million for him, and I think they're scared that we're going to try and highball. Just take something like fucking 20 mil max and let him go. He's not going to play well for us. Let him go to Betis. Now to the other 2 loanees, Jadon Sancho and Rashford. Get them out as soon as possible. I don't even want them having a t-shirt printed. Out. Like, gone. We don't need them. Sancho said some shit that is just not recoverable. And fucking Rashford has done the same thing, but just not as publicly as what Sancho is. Sancho's basically said that he was a fucking prisoner at Manchester United. We paid 120 million for a prisoner, apparently. But anyway, yeah, it's unfortunate for Rashford because he's a hometown boy, but I said this like 2 seasons ago when we had big offers from PSG, and I think Madrid were even looking at him to let him go because you could see he didn't want to be there. Even when he was scoring, no smiles, nothing. just did not want to be at the club. And this was before, this was 2 seasons before, well, not last season, the season before that. I said we should have sold him. You could see that he didn't want to be at the club anymore. And now we've hit that point where he can't be part of the club anymore. He needs to go. I don't know who's going to sell him, but those 3 players also could be, including Malaysia and Shaw, they could actually save our season by getting rid of them. Because I think by selling all of them, we could get like 80 million. And 80 million pays for Eucharist, basically. We got 25 million extra. We can use that to fill in the shit that we need to fill in. Goalkeepers especially. And if we can get rid of Onana and Benier also, we've got probably 100 mil, over 100 mil. Maybe. That's if fucking people want to buy these guys. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below who you would sign, who you would sell. I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say, and what positions where you play them. Let me know what you guys think about what I said. That's gonna be it for the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.